Yeah. Yeah. So, I think well. First of all, what's your impression of the call yesterday?
What is my impression
As in,
of the call? I mean, I think it was fairly productive.
but in terms of, let me just start the back up. In terms of the conversation around traces and where it got to. So, I
mean, it was helpful hearing Tom's perspective on all. That's what I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really good that I mean, these are the calls that I need the most. It's what he thinks the code is going to do, and what he thinks the functionality will be is extremely helpful in order to craft the appropriate definition.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Absolutely. So where we got to, I've been trying to drop a diagram, but I've not successfully done it yet. But there's a couple things that really crystallized. The first one is the trace, and if we can call it trace for now, we'll go through a full naming thing. The trace itself is an object, and that object itself, because by dint of being, I think, I've been pushing not to call it a project, and Tom came up with coordinator. Okay, that kind of captures it better than project. Has a governance and attribution by itself. So the
wait. Just okay. Mm-hmm. Let's rewind a little bit because I was getting a little bit lost with the coordinator part.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make sure that I understand what coordinator means, or at least what you think it means.
Okay.
So
let me reference.
Okay, I had to listen to it a couple times. So now the way I listened to it, it sounded like the coordinator was a separate object.
Yes.
That was part of the NFT minting, right?
It's a coordinator is what we previously was calling a project, but the coordinator is a template which has certain objects inside of it that effectively can be put to different uses. So I'm going to get you a reference here of the current definition of the project structure. Give me 2 secs.
Yeah.
Where is it? Okay, I'm looking now at page 53.
Page 53.
Now, what I've not done, I think I'm going to have to put the dictionary up on the ramp for a couple of days and make these changes to take this into account. But the project structure there essentially has the important things is governance, attribution, and a bank, and then there's various additional pieces around outputs. Now, if you think about that as a template, if you were to create a trace and put in a number of state changes, the state changes would be counted inside of those the outputs. The whole thing could be then referenced as a single object with governance, and the attribution is who's effectively what the rights are. So if you were to, for example, transfer ownership of a trace, then that would amount to changing the governance. So say if I had, if there's only one governance algo, which is what I say goes on this trace.
All of that so far, I completely understand. I just wanted to clarify whether or not whether we were talking about two separate things when we're talking about like a trace / BNP in the actual project. Like those are separate objects, right?
They're separate objects in terms of they do different jobs, but they're both built from the same template, which is this coordinator. So
the coordinator is a template.
Yeah, effectively. It's a template from which we can build projects, traces, users, or whatever we're going to end up calling ghosts. All of these have, as far as I can see, a pretty much identical structure. Some of the fields might be empty and not required for some of the applications, but they all have governance, they all have attribution, they all have a bank, they all have outputs.
Okay, so yeah, in my mind, that was something, coordinator was something a bit different, but okay. So you're saying the coordinator and basically all this stuff is just one template.
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the importance of that is we can collapse quite a lot of complexity into one thing, and kind of mentally that thing works in the same way, regardless of what it is.
You're using the Stripe template, so what is it being used for then?
Sorry, say that again.
I'm just reading. Okay, so I'm just making sure that there isn't any duplication because we are using the term template in the dictionary too. So if you're called a coordinator a template.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, I see what you're saying. It was more of a description. Yes. Maybe a constructor would be a better way of doing it. Or saying it. So it's
a constructor I mean, are you talking about the constructor as the coordinator object? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. So if I describe what's actually happening, maybe we'll get a good name.
In my brain, that's exactly what we're talking about as a constructor.
Yeah.
Like the constructor compiles the NFT, right?
Right.
And it adds certain features to that NFT. Not only does it add the boundary conditions of the NFT, so you're putting a ring fence around what it is you want to call the asset or reputation or whatever it is that you want to craft as being this particular object, but it also adds certain metadata and headers and pointers and channels and other things that it's necessary for it to function as an NFT on the network.
Yes.
Non-chain.
Yeah. Precisely.
Right.
And the
I would fully support calling it a constructor because that's exactly what it does. It constructs entities.
Make that change now. God, my laptop is really running like a dog, even down to keystrokes. Why is okay? Figure out.
As much language that we can steal from smart contracts, the better. As far as language goes.
Yeah. So that's an important point. It's less important for what we're talking about trace. It's more important for the overall dictionary. So I was saying I'm going to probably for a couple of days have to go through, and where we're talking previously we've been talking about individual types of objects. A ghost is different from say a project, but in essence they're really not. If you can build them from the same constructors, and depending on what fields you put in, that dictates what the use is.
Correct. Yep.
So.
Yep. That's how I understand. Yep.
So in terms of trace, let me get this diagram. Is this? Well, let me give me 2 secs. I'm going to take a photo of this and stick it in here, and maybe we can talk to it. It's a Gash diagram, but at least will give us something to talk to.
Okay.
Yep. I'm the king of Gash diagrams, so I just find it's easy to. It's much easier for me to think while doing it in pen, and then try and figure out.
Well, I am the king of drawings. So you want something, explain. I'm going to do an illustration first or a drawing first before I even commit words mostly.
Right, I'm going to try and keep the shadow out. Let's see. Is this going to work? Yeah. That might work. So I was doing this. I was doing this early this morning, so I haven't.
So is this at all reminiscent to anything that I posted, like the diagram that I posted in Discord, or is that
yes, it's it does the same job, but does it as a different level of detail. And what I was hoping to do is these illustrations I'm starting to upload and whatnot. There's a method to the madness. The madness, I'm now talking to people in media about this, and people are actually kind of interested. And so I got to compile this stuff into something that's relatively sane looking. Yeah, that's going to be hard, and maybe that should be after we get through the dictionary, or actually in parallel to that. Maybe it's something I can help out with. But you're a smart guy, right? And you've seen how long it's taken you to actually get the fundamental aspects of it. Not because it's particularly complex; it's reasonably complex. It's just that we're not that good at explaining it because we're so.
Well, that's the whole point of what I'm trying to do is trying to funnel this and filter this stuff down and precipitate it to something that a person off the street could look at it, some pretty pictures, and go, "Oh yeah, okay, I understand what's going on."
Yeah, and pretty pictures is definitely the way to do that. All right, so where's it gone?
Because I mean, it seems like everybody wants this product. I mean, they don't know they want this product, but everybody's asking for this product, and they want it in a specific way. And it seems to be aligning perfectly with our thought processes and how we want this to function.
Yes.
They just don't know yet. They're like I said, they keep asking it around the periphery of it. They keep talking about what it is they want. They haven't seen anybody demonstrate it and go, "Here, this is what you want, right? Yeah. This is what you're really asking for."
Here's a shot at it.
Yeah.
Right, let me get this.
And again, we might be really wrong, but then again, somebody else might be able to take the manual and make it better.
Right.
Right.
Give me 2 secs. I mean, the explanation of it, I think, is absolutely critical, as you just pointed out. Oh, come on! I don't know if you can see this. It's like
and I also think this like I don't know, explainer deck, if you will, would be pretty important to investors as well. Because I mean, obviously the money part is fairly important to them. That's where they're coming from. But also something that we can just have a quick deck on a website so that people can go through at their own leisure and come to an investor would help them up so that they have a better conversation in that meeting.
Yeah, exactly. And probably that deck is going to have a number of slides where we can filter out for certain audiences, because investors aren't necessarily going to think about the same. God, this is absolutely dogging.
What's going on over there?
Honestly, this is not fun. The clicks are like.
Are you dropping in this corner?
I'm dropping in a diagram into the dictionary just temporarily, so we can both have a look at it. Hopefully, this will be worth the wait. And is it doing it? Oh, come on. Oh, seriously. I think I might need my monthly